Okay.
Okay, so we can get started with that. Welcome everyone for the club officer training. I would like to introduce Chris Rahla, who is going to be doing the training session. District officers, club presidents, very welcome to this session for the very first training session of the Toastmasters year. With that, I would like to hand over to Chris to start the meeting. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you, Nirmala. So I'm going to be doing the club president's training, and just to get started, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen just to make sure everybody can see it. Those of you, if you want to, please feel free to turn on your camera, turn it off as you see fit. But if you are eating during this presentation, I may ask you what you're eating. So be prepared. There may be a little table topics, literally. And that is probably the funniest joke you're going to hear through this entire presentation. Now, before we get started, I do have to do a little bit of housekeeping. And we have to go over that wonderful, fun statement that I know we have all gone through before, but we still have to do it again. This is for our training. Some of you should have received this in your email, but I'm going to go ahead and read it anyway. I want to welcome everybody to this club officer training. By attending this COT, as we're calling them now, you agree to the privacy policy of Toastmasters International, as well as the unassociated remote hosting service. Some of your personal information, such as name, image, and any shared messages, may be shared with other meeting participants and will be recorded by Toastmasters International, who may use the recording in the future as it sees fit. Your remote attendance hereby discharges Toastmasters from all claims, demands, rights, promises, damages, and liabilities arising out of or in connection with the use or distribution of said video recording, including but not limited to any claims for invasion of privacy, appropriation of likeness, or defamation. Wasn't that fun? All right. So we're going to go ahead and we will get started. First question I'm going to ask is, does everybody see President Club Officer Training on their screen? Just give me a thumbs up. All right, see a couple thumbs up. I really appreciate that. So this training is going to last probably about 30 to 40 minutes. And I'm going to try to make it as entertaining as possible, because I know many of us have sat through these and said, do I have to be here again? Yes. As some of you may know, I was a failed comedian at one point, so I don't promise the jokes will be fun, but they will be there. That being said, I want to start with one question. How many of you have never been a president? Do we have any brand new presidents in the room right now?
Ross Miller.
Lisa Stewart.
Brendan.
Jennifer.
All right. Well, I see a few thumbs up. How many of you have been, thank you very much. How many of you have been presidents twice or once? And this is your second time? Who's been president twice? We're just going to go straight through, because we know one person in here has been president at least 8 times. So do we have anybody 8+ times as president? All right. So if we have any questions, we all go to Dennis. Didn't know you were volunteering today, huh, Dennis? All right. So the question we have, especially for the new presidents here, is what is the primary purpose of the president of a club? And I've thought about this a lot. And in my mind, it's collaboration. One word, collaboration. Now, why did I come to this? I'll call it an epiphany. Well, let me tell you the story of 2 club presidents that I've served under. First club president number 1, came from the military, had a military mindset as far as leadership goes. Basically, you say, I do. That's it. That's the way it works. And that's how said president operated. second president. Learned to ask questions, understood that didn't know everything, tried to understand everybody's purpose, and worked together in a collaborative manner. Now, which one of those two presidents do you think was more successful? I'm seeing a lot of people holding up two. And you would be right. My second term as president, when I learned to collaborate, is when I became a lot more successful. I know. But collaboration is really what you're here for. You're not here to say, follow me, I know everything. We're going forth with my ideas. You're there to be a president, a cheerleader, a mentor to help build your people up. And if they make mistakes, help them correct them. Tough job, right? Well, fortunately for us, Toastmasters was kind enough to actually give us a little letter, little summary of what the president does. You ask, where did I get this? Stay tuned and I'll tell you in about 20 minutes. Cliffhangers. Gotta hate those, right? So basically, this is the summary, and I'm not going to read it word for word, but you can get the general gist, and I'll show you where you can get the whole letter. Is as a club president, you will set the tone for your club. You're expected to provide helpful, supportive leadership for all the club's activities. You will be the first to assume responsibility for progress and welfare of the club. You motivate, resolve conflict, and you facilitate as required. That's that collaboration I was talking about. Now we're going to talk about your responsibilities today, and I'm not going to go through the whole list here verbatim, but you can go ahead and take a quick look if you like. I'll wait about 10 seconds. Then I'll slowly scroll down a little bit more. And by doing this, by being a president, these are the skills that you're going to learn. Now, granted, I'm a slow learner, which is why it took me twice being president before I started to understand this. All righty, let's get that out of the way. So now I want everyone to know this PowerPoint presentation that I'm going to be using. You'll be able to download it, and I'm going to show you where. So if you miss something, if you have to step away, that's perfectly fine. Everything that I'm going to be using is available to you as club presidents. All right, so our agenda, we're going to talk about the president's role, responsibilities, and the resources you have. So first, we talk about identifying your role. Well, remember that nice little letter I gave you? That is the start. Now, where do I get that letter? Who here has logged into Toastmasters International? How many of you have logged in and gone to a little tab called Leadership Central? See a few hands? All right. For those of you who haven't, I'm going to go ahead and pull this over here real quick. As soon as it lets me drag. Doesn't this look familiar? I love the artwork. They really changed it around. I'm really enjoying the new artwork. So everything I'm going to go through today is up here on this nice little Leadership Central tab. So all you have to do is go to toastmasters.org, log in, Leadership Central. Now, if you try to go to Leadership Central without logging in, it's going to tell you, hey, you got to log in first. It will do that. How do I know that? I tried it about 10 minutes ago. But again, Leadership Central, and this has a lot of really good things. And we're going to be working with two tabs here today, Club Central and Club Officer Tools. You're going to get to see those in use quite a bit today. All right. So now let's identify our role. Now that you know where I'm getting everything that we're going to talk about from. So Oh, we skipped one real quick here. The president's role, you are, for lack of a better word, a facilitator, a communicator. You are the boss, but you don't command. Because like I told you, when the first time I was a president, when I just told people do this, do that, eventually I was doing everything. Now, how many of you have held more roles than just president? By the end of your term, how many of you were like, oh, thank you, I'm done. I'm seeing a few hands, a few thumbs up. This is why collaboration is so important. You want to build your team up so that all you have to do is really make sure that they're doing their jobs. That's your job. To lead the meetings, dispute resolutions, but your job is not to do everything. If you try, you will burn out. I will guarantee you that. I know this because, well, I was number one. So that's that's basically your president's role: facilitator, collaborator, and you do have responsibilities for the meetings. Let's go ahead and talk about that next. So you have responsibilities before the club meeting, outside of the club meeting, and with your executive committee. So before the club meeting, first off, you definitely want to stay in communication with your, for lack of a better word, second in command, the vice president education. Definitely before the meeting, you want to say, hey, did anyone finish a pathway? Do we get to celebrate this? Because how many of you have been in a club where when someone finishes a path, you celebrate it, you say, you recognize it. And when you see someone being celebrated for their path, doesn't that make you say, I want to get celebrated too? Because we all like our name up in lights, right? I don't know how good the your videographers are, but hey, if you can put someone's name in lights, go for it. Now you also have to plan the business portion of the meeting. This is one of your jobs. And it's not just of the club meeting, it's also goes with your executive committee meeting. Don't you just love showing up for a meeting? It's like, okay, I think I need to do reports and I don't really have anything planned and I didn't send it out an agenda. So, hey, let's just talk for 45 minutes and see what we figure out. Who loves sitting through a business meeting like that? Either in Toastmasters or at work. I'm pretty sure, especially with the pandemic, we've all sat through at least one of those meetings where like, at the end, you're like, that's an hour of my life I would like to have back because it was totally unplanned. Has anyone sat through those? I see a few hands. I saw a few nods. Saw a few people going, oh, yeah, I've done that. So that's why it's really important for you to plan your meetings and get that plan out before the meeting. By email. I know a lot of clubs now, especially in the pandemic, have gone to messaging applications, Google Messenger, Facebook Messenger, Teams, however you get it out, feel free. And then review parliamentary procedure. And if you don't know how to find parliamentary procedure, remember we talked about our nice little website here? It does have this really cool search function, and you can type in parliamentary procedure, and you're going to get about 300 articles on it, is what I found. Actually, that's where I stopped counting. But you just go right up to the search, type it in, takes you right to it. If you want to find it the other way, you're going to go through Leadership Central on about 4 screens. Has anyone noticed that I'm probably going to bring Toastmasters International website up quite a few times today? Gotta love that, right? Let someone else do the work. All right. Now, one thing I did want to point out to you is that when it comes to the parliamentary procedures, you do want to make sure, and again, this goes back to making sure everyone understands what they're supposed to do, that your secretary, whoever's taking the minute notes, knows how to make sure that any parliamentary procedures that are performed are recorded. So when someone asks for a motion, they record the motion and who asked for it. If someone says, "Hey, I second that," you record who seconded it. These documents are very important, especially when it comes to being able to change treasurer, which we learned the really hard way with the bank because they are getting a little more, how shall I say it, fussy when it comes to changing over bank accounts. All right. We're about, just to let you know, we are about halfway through the PowerPoint presentation. Everybody, we can get a yay on that? We all love watching PowerPoint presentations on the screen, don't we? Like I said, failed comedian. All right. So once you get to the meeting, what's your job? What do you do? Well, first off, review the meeting agenda. Make sure everybody who's supposed to be there is there. Help out the Toastmaster. Make sure that you're at you do have a place for the business meeting marked so that we know. Some clubs like to do it before, some most like to do it after, and some of them have it on a different day. But again, whatever if you are doing a business meeting, make sure it is on your agenda so you can point out, yeah, we did a business meeting on this day at this time, and that should be recorded by your secretary. And then also greet guests and members. You get to schmooze everybody. Go around, hey, good to see you, glad to see you. Hey, we haven't seen each other in a while. You look different outside your box. It took people a little while to get that particular joke there. Got it, okay. But your job is to greet people. Now, you say, wait a minute, that's a sergeant at arms job. Initially, yes. But if the sergeant at arms gets busy because you have a whole bunch of guests, which is what everybody wants, right? We want a ton of guests because more guests equals more members, right? Again, you jump in and help out. You're the cheerleader, you're the facilitator, you're the helper. And who doesn't want to say, hey, I got to meet the president of the club. They took a special interest in me. I should join this club. How many of you met the president and said, you know, I'm joining now? All right, a few of you, thank you. So again, make sure you greet your guests, make them feel important, find out what they're looking for, and also to kind of let them feel like, hey, you can help us too. What do you do? Oh, I'm a graphics designer. Oh, what club here could use a graphics designer? Yeah, I've done website design and I'm no good at it. So when if you ever get a graphics designer who comes to your club, never let them go. All right. So your first, when it comes to the actual club meeting, you get to call the meeting to order. Now, if you decided in your club to say, hey, no, we want the sergeant at arms to call it to order. Again, these are kind of the general guidelines, but depending on how your club works, your club culture, I'm in a club. I'm actually in 4 clubs. One club, the president greets the guests. One club, the Toastmaster greets the guests. 2 clubs, someone does it, whoever remembers to do it. Not particularly efficient in that case, is it? But again, that's why you want to make sure that everyone knows their roles, and you want to make sure you reinforce that with whom you're working with. Introducing guests. Now I've always had a little bit of a problem with this because I tend to be like, hey, I'm so happy to see you. Yeah, I drink too many Red Bulls, I know. But you want to greet your guests. Maybe ask them to say, hey, why are you here? How can we help you out? And introduce them to the club so the club can also show them how enthusiastic they are that you're there. You're going to go any meeting events, you're going to conduct the business portion of the meeting, and you're going to provide information for the next meeting. Now, again, this also goes back to how does your club run? I mean, example, provide information for the next meeting. How many of you say, hey, Vice President of Education, tell them who's up next week or next month? A few clubs do it that way. But again, it depends on how your club is set up. you make any announcements, or you let people who are making announcements make their announcements. It's best, I have found, when it comes to making announcements, if someone wants to make one, to have them tell you in advance. So maybe send out an email before the meeting or call and say, hey, does everyone have an announcement? Because quite honestly, if you get about 12 or 13 announcements, you're just like, oh, why did I not? I just want to go to sleep. It's 8:45 at night. We're 20 minutes past our meeting end. Who's been in that situation so far? Yeah. Oh, I see a few hands up. A few's like, I even saw some people pointing. There's no blame here. All right. But then obviously, last thing is adjourn the meeting after you made the mistake of letting too many people have announcements. Now, outside the club meeting, and this is one of the things I really, really enjoy as a president, and it really helped me a lot, is you get to meet a lot of the presidents outside the club. Now, remember I asked earlier how many people this was a first-time president for them? Second time, third time, 8 times, however many times? You're attending something outside your club meeting. This is networking right now. And I would ask, and I would say, when it comes to being the president, if you're new or you have a question, perhaps reach out to one of the other club presidents in your area. Maybe even if people are comfortable with it, if you'd like, in the chat, go ahead and put your email and say, hey, email me if you have a question. I will leave that completely up to you. But we are our own resources as club presidents, because you don't know everything, you don't know everything, you don't know everything, but together we know everything, or we can at least figure it out, right? All right, I didn't see head shakes either way, so I'll let everyone mull that over. But you get to attend the council meetings. You get to attend and vote at the annual business meeting. That's always, okay, I'm gonna lie, that's usually not fun, but the last one was actually really entertaining. And hopefully the next one will be just as entertaining. But when you get to vote, it's fun. You get to appoint the audit committee. So this is for for your internal club, if you have to, I always get this one wrong. You get to appoint for any audits. And you also appoint for your nominating committee for, hey, when you're done, who's next? You also can be appointed for nominating committee for the next district leadership. So that's why going to these meetings outside your club, it starts to expand your horizons. And that's part of Toastmasters. The first part is to actually get you speaking. Then it's to get you speaking to other people. Networking. And as leaders, we want to definitely build up our club members and our executive committee to where they're ready to go out and say, I'm ready to take on the world or the next level of Toastmasters. And trust me, your area directors and your division directors and the trio, they love it when people say, hey, I want to be part of the leadership committee. Tina's like, yeah. So feel free to reach out if you want to be part of the leadership committee. Hey, it's great. I've actually been an area director, and I am considering, a year or so, once my kids are a little bit older, so I have more time, actually going for division director, like Nirmala here. And again, thank you, Nirmala, for being our Division F director and putting on this presentation today. Let's all give Nirmala a big hand. And if you want to, you can unmute and clap too. Who misses the clapping? There we go. We got some clapping. Got to get the Toastmaster calluses back on our hands as far as clapping, right? Exactly. So you also want to, I just talked about this and I realized I didn't put my slide forward. Don't you just love it when that happens? But we talked about advancing club member achievements, and that doesn't just have to be in pathways. That could be, hey, I went out and I talked at a big convention for my workplace. That's who here actually in your clubs does a thank goodness for Toastmaster moments. 2 out of my 3 clubs do that. And same thing is you interact effectively with other organizational levels, not just the trio, not just your directors, but amongst yourselves. Because believe it or not, and I know this as an area director, is the less we hear from you, the more we're happy. Except when it comes to the area directors having to do their reports, then we're not happy when we don't hear from you. How many people have been that area director is like, I had to chase down a president. Don't be that president. And I would definitely recommend that if you haven't had contact with your area director, make contact, because they are a wealth of information. And if they don't know, they take it to the next level. But again, before you go that route, who wants to guess what I'm about to pull onto the screen now? You can always check the website first and dig into Club Central. All right. I think a few of you are like, are we almost done with the PowerPoint presentation? Yes, we are. Now, the executive committee, has everyone here had at least one executive committee meeting? I think it looks like most of us have. So you oversee the executive committee, you set the agenda, but you also want to make sure that everybody knows their role in there as well. You want to make sure everyone knows that, hey, they're going to have to give a report at the executive committee, especially the treasurer. You're going to have to go over the moments from the last executive committee meeting. And remember that parliamentary procedure? You get to do it here. All of those reports. Then you also want to put in a few things for business, because again, you lead the meeting, but you want to lead it. You don't want to command it. So if you say, hey, does anyone on the executive committee want to add something to the agenda as new business, or go over something as old business? Because if they're just sitting there going, my report is we got $1,000 in the bank and TI wants us to pay $3,000 in dues, that's not going to be really an effective leadership, is it? Because again, you want to make them feel stewards of your executive committee, to feel stewards of their particular position. And I would highly recommend, if you haven't done every role, learn. At least look at remember I showed you the president's letter earlier? There's a vice president education letter. There's a vice president PR letter. There's a vice president membership letter. Sergeant at arms, treasurer, secretary. They're all there. Guess where they're at? Feel free to unmute yourself and shout out the answer. I saw Rachel, you tried to say the answer, but you didn't unmute. All right, I'll give you a hint. Dun, 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 dun. That's right. It's on the website. Right under Leadership Central. And I'm going to show you these two, because it's kind of one of those, don't you hate those when people say, hey, it's on the website, and you're like, where? Look in the upper right-hand corner. Well, that's like a fourth of your screen. So I'm going to kind of go through the website a little bit. I'm not just going to say, look at the website, good luck, because that's just not really effective training, is it? At least I don't think it is. All right. So, and again, your other job, going back to what we were talking about, is ensure the executive committee completes their duties. Now, keep in mind, this is not, you don't want to come in there and say, why isn't that done? You're failing. Give me 20 push-ups. Like I said, military leadership doesn't work. You want to be, again, collaborative. Ask, hey, are you having issues with this? Can I help you? How can I help you? Do you need someone else on the something from someone else on the executive committee? Are there dependencies? You want to build them up so that they're working and just come to you and say, hey, we're done. Because that's what you want to be as a president. You just want to be the person getting the report saying, hey, we're done. All right. Now, the executive committee's duties, and we'll just go through these pretty quickly, is create a club budget, because we only have so much money and we don't get more. We can't go to TI and say, please, may we have more? Nope. What we got is what we got, because each club is its own entity. The club success plan. And we do actually, there is a club success plan, which is on the website. And yes, I will show it to you. Strategize for success in this distinguished club program. DCP. Everybody loves hearing about that, right? I was neutral on that. But yes, you definitely want to strategize. You want to get commitments, because if someone just says, yeah, we're going to do the DCP, that's not really a commitment. You want people to say, I'm going to give a pathway 3. I'm going to give a pathway 4. I'm going to attend officers meeting, which guess what? By being here, you all are helping get your DCP points. And Tina and Linda are like, yeah, DCP, get them points. Got to make sure that the dignitaries are cheering, and I plug for them every once in a while, right? All right, and then create and oversee the club committees as necessary. I've been in one club that I think had two committees: nominating committee, contest committee. I have been in clubs where there was a nominating committee, contest committee, banquet committee, picnic committee, events committee. I can go on if you'd like, but you get the picture, right? Yep. So again, you're going to create them and you oversee them, not lead them. Because if you have other committees, you don't have to actually be a part of those committees. That's the chairperson. And that chairperson is responsible to you and the executive committee. How to fulfill the president's role, the how, when, who, and what. How will you fulfill this responsibility? When will each action be completed? Who is available to help you? And what materials and resources can you use? So how you fulfill this responsibility is really on you. Some of you are going to say, you're going to really regiment and say, okay, on Tuesday, I'm going to write the agenda for the business meeting. I'm going to make sure the VPE has the agendas out set up for the next 3 months. Your VPE is going to look at you and go like, good luck. I'm already saying that as VP of 3 clubs. You're also, those are the things you're going to do as far as your responsibility. And again, the when is up to you, but you want to make sure you don't do it at the last minute. You don't want to go 5 minutes before the meeting and say, all right, we need to find a Toastmaster and 2 speakers. Who's been to that meeting? A few of us have been to that meeting. I think most people call it the train wreck meeting, right? But hey, you learn a lot from train wrecks as well. Now, who is available to help you? Now, remember, I talked about in the chat, if you want, you can put your email, because guess what? Everyone's here to help everybody, right? Dennis, I'm going to put you on the spot here as the person who's been the president the most times. If another president came up to you and said, hey, Dennis, I need some advice on presidency or a question about president, you'd help them, right? Now, if they call you at 1 o'clock in the morning, you might be a little grumpy about it, but hey.
Yes, of course I would help them.
Exactly. We're all here as presidents to raise each other up. Because like I said earlier, you don't know everything. You don't know everything. You don't know everything, but together we do know everything.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We're all in this together.
Exactly. All right. And what materials and resources can you use? Well, we talked about presidents. But what else? Where else could we find those materials we may need?
Toastmasters International.
Toastmasters International. The website. Thank you, Debbie. All right. So you're saying, Chris, are we through the PowerPoint presentation yet? We have to have a checklist, right? We have to summarize before we get done. So again, as a president, you want to make sure you attend district-sponsored club officer programs like this. You want to read the materials, which I'm going to show you where to find everything. Meet with an outgoing executive committee. because it's kind of fun showing up and say, who wants to show up and say with a little note that says, hey, here's everything we left you. Have a nice day. Meet with the outgoing president. Highly recommend this. Any officer role, you want to meet with your successor. I've been fortunate that the clubs that I took over VPE for, all the vice presidents of education have been really helpful, or else we wouldn't have any agendas. And then last but not least, meet with the current executive committee. You want to meet not just as a regular meeting, just kind of, you want to get there and get everyone's ideas, what their hopes, their dreams, their aspirations, what they think they know, what they don't know, where to find all that. And this is where you can go in the website to get all that stuff. I'm going to go ahead and just wait about 30 seconds in case anyone wants to actually grab that. But guess what? I'm going to show you where to get this PowerPoint presentation so you too can go through this on your own. And if anyone's asking, yes, I am humming the theme of Jeopardy in my head to count 30 seconds. Boom, boom. All right, we've gone through the Jeopardy. So thus far, I'm going to kind of open it up for just a couple minutes. Any questions? Bueller, Bueller, Bueller. All right, we'll go ahead and move on. Yes, I'm a child of the 80s, and Ferris Bueller is one of my favorite movies. So remember, I just told you that you actually can download this PowerPoint presentation, and you're going to say, well, Chris, where can I do that? Great question. You wish this concluded the officer's training. This just concludes the slides. Now I want to go ahead and show you a little bit on the website so you know where to start. So like I said, first thing, go ahead and log in. And if it doesn't say welcome and your name, you didn't log in. And then we're going to talk about the Leadership Central tab. Everyone see where I'm pointing? If you're on a phone, this is recorded, so you can download the recording and you'll be able to see where I'm pointing later. I know a few people have called in. All right, so let's go ahead and click on Leadership Central. And the two tabs I'm going to talk about today are Club Central and Club Officer Tools. But you have all these really, really fun tabs to click on. And I highly recommend, if you get really bored and can't sleep, go to one of them. A few of them will help you go to sleep. But we're going to go ahead. I'm going to click on Club Central first off. And again, you won't be able to get into this unless you are logged in. And as an officer, and you can see I logged in as the Vice President of Education for the advanced club that I'm a member of, which is Toastmasters Extraordinaires. If for some reason you're in multiple clubs, some of these things you may or may not get, you can always go to the side and say, okay, which club do I want that gives me the most tabs? And you can see, like I said, I'm in 4 clubs: Kirkland Eclectics, Toastmasters Extraordinaires, Cosmos, and Digital Transformation. But I'm going to go, like I said, I'm going to use Toastmasters Extraordinaires. And this is where, as your president, you can do things such as add members, submit education awards. Now you say, wait, that's the VPE's job. Well, the VPE can't submit education awards for themselves. So you need to know how to do that. If you don't, get with the VPE, set up a Zoom session and have the VPE walk you through you saying yes to their award. So you do have to do that. You or the secretary do have that ability. You can check out your club rosters, and you can even, if you have to, submit payments. Although that should be the treasurer doing that. With the, hopefully everyone has a club debit card. You also see you do have club administration. You can actually see who your club officers are. The financials I haven't really messed with, so I'm not going to go through those too much. But you can get administrative reports. You can set up club contact and meeting information so that, hey, when someone goes and says, hey, where's the Toastmasters International? Show me clubs that are within 20 miles of me. You can do that. So as you can see, there's a whole bunch of things. Remember I talked about that club success plan? I'm going to go ahead and click this one. let it open up for us here. And you can see right now, we're working on our club success plan, but we can put it up here. We can say, hey, these are the people who, and what they plan to do. All right, so we talked about the Leadership Central. We talked about the Club Central tools. But what about club officers? Because you said, Chris, where do I get that letter from? Chris, where do I get that PowerPoint presentation from? Okay, well, that's all under club officer tools. And this, especially for newer officers and even older officers, I highly recommend you go through everything in this club officer tools. Because you can see it talks out, hey, remember the leader letter? We've got a few of those. So you can actually see what things have been going on. You can actually also go to club officer roles. Again, so you understand what everybody's role is. You can get a role summary. And this is something I actually never seen before until I went there 2 weeks ago. They're giving you videos now. I don't know how long that's been there. I've never seen it before. Well, at least so I didn't see it last year, but you can actually get videos and you can evaluate yourself to see, hey, what do I need to work on? And they have it for president, vice president membership. So I would highly recommend with your executive committee, take them here to the club officer tools and have that so they can really, really understand their roles. Because again, your job, one of your jobs is collaboration. The other one is to build your people up, and showing them where they can get education, where they can get training from is one of your, is not just the vice president of education, it's your job as well. All right, so we are pretty much done with the training at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up for any questions. If I don't know the answer, maybe someone else who does, feel free to chime in.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
One of the things that I get asked very often, and I just want to make sure everybody knows where this is. People always ask me, where do I find my club number? What's my member number? Where do we find those?
So that's actually a great question, and I can actually demonstrate it with mine since I'm actually already logged in. Now, if you are getting, first off, if you're looking for your number, used to be if you were getting the magazines, it would be right there on the shipping, on the label. But if not, you can actually also, when you get it online, I believe your number's still there. But once you've logged in, I'll just show you mine here real quick. That's all of my information right there. That's my club number, my actual member number, and you can see I've been in here since 2013. I'm hoping that before we distribute this recording that we will gray out my member number, or things could get rather interesting. I just thought of that. Note, please don't remember my number.
Can you get member numbers for other members of your club besides just yourself?
Yes, as an officer, you do have access to the under the Leadership Central, and I'm not going to show you other people's numbers, but if you go to your Club Central and you can go to your club roster, that'll show everybody who's paid, how long they're paid up to, and also includes their member numbers.
Okay, thank you.
Question, Chris.
Yes, Lisa.
Why would we want to know member numbers?
Especially when you're putting in awards, you want to make sure that you are going to the correct member. And also when it comes to applying payments, you want to make sure that you're applying the payments correctly. So more the treasurer, the vice president of education, but anyone who has those type of responsibilities may need that information. Even as you may know, when you were signing up for this presentation today, you were asked your member number to make sure you get credit for being at this training.
Super, thank you.
Chris,
Yes, Hector.
if you go to this page and go into the club roster and notice that there's something wrong, how do you go ahead and make a change to that?
So that's going to depend on what the issue is. I highly recommend if it's someone saying that their dues haven't been paid, before you make changes, make sure you talk with whichever executive committee member is the person who may be involved with that change. So if it's member status, if it's example, if it's showing them with the wrong education level, you want to talk to the VPE. If it's showing the wrong, they're not paid, you want to talk to the treasurer. I would highly recommend not just going in there and just making changes willy-nilly, but you would have the access to do any changes as necessary.
Thank you. Really enjoyed your presentation this morning, Christopher. Thank you.
Thank you. I truly appreciate that. And I do ask, and you can let Nirmala know. I assume, Nirmala, we're going to be sending out some sort of a survey to all the attendees.
Yes.
Awesome. Once you get that survey, please fill it out. You can say how bad I was, how good I was. Say, please never have Chris as president, do the president training ever again. Whatever you want. They'll just tell me, and I'd say, Chris, you're never doing this again. And I'll be like,
Wonderful job. Excellent.
thank you, Dennis.
Sense of humor helped. I liked your jokes, but then again, I love terrible comedians as well.
Well, some of them were dad jokes too. So
No, it was really good. I liked it. And it was engaging, and you taught us well. And Smedley's, our founder, said we learn best in moments of enjoyment. Here we are.
that's something I didn't know. Thank you. I learned something today. Hey. So
Great work.
I did want to, Tommy, did you have a question?
Well, I had a comment on knowing members' numbers when it comes to officers. If a member is having a problem with their Toastmasters account and they don't know who to contact, the officer can contact Toastmasters International, and you need to know that number. For example, this past year, I've had 2 members I've been supporting and enrolling in Pathways, and both of them had 2 accounts. They were seeing one account, and on the club roster, I was seeing a different account. And it's up to TI membership to merge those accounts, and it's possible, but it usually has to be an officer that contacts them. So knowing your roster and your members and their numbers can be critically important in straightening out things, especially in Pathways.
Thank you, Tommy. And like I said, I've never had to deal with that situation, but you have, and as presidents, we all can help each other, and we all know we can all figure everything out. So thanks, Tommy, for putting that in there. Michelle, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I'll follow up on that. There's a great way to keep a member from getting 2 IDs, and that is when they're joining, ask if they've ever been a Toastmaster before. And if they have, then you need to find out what email address they used to use when they were a member before, so that you can better search for them. And it may take a little back and forth, but it saves a lot of trouble on the other end from TI having to merge the 2 accounts, because I have been through that as well.
All right, we have 2 other people with their hands up. Debbie?
I just had a question that probably not totally related to presidents, but I wondered if anybody had ideas for just getting new members with so many clubs still being virtual. And I know this is the one and only year and I've been with my club for a long time, that we have actually had a hard time getting new members. We've had people come, so we've had guests come to our meeting, but getting them to actually commit to a virtual meeting, we've struggled with that.
So that is actually a really great question, Debbie. And I'm just bringing this up real quick because today you're at what's called a COT or Club Officer Training. But if you go to d2tm.org, make sure I went to the right one, and you go to the calendar, and I think and correct me if I'm wrong, Tina and Linda, as two members of our trio that I see here. If we go to the calendar and you go to District 2 Club events, we also have what's called TLIs coming up. And we'll just wait till this actually opens up. And I do believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Linda and Tina, that there are going to be trainings on membership and retention, as well as
Chris, it's not a club event. Go back one screen and then go to district event.
Okay. Oh, they did it again. Calendar, District 2 events. Come on. There we go.
So just to explain a little bit, and there is a video on there somewhere about us explaining TLIs and COTs. There is one TLI each round of officer training. So we had one, the very first one, June 26th. And then the November round of trainings that everyone will need to attend. I was kind of in the middle of typing answers to some of this. But each round, all officers need to attend at least one training. There will be one TLI and the rest of them are considered club officer training or COT. There are other options besides just the role specific training, and you can go to any one of them. So if you have been a club president 8 times, you don't have to go to club president training again. You can pick a leadership session, for example, instead. So you have options. Did that answer the question? Did I go off on a tangent?
No, thank you for clarifying that. For some reason, I had that backwards in my head. See, that's why you always want to have at least one of your trio members at any type of these trainings, because they are the big brains. So, but kind of just to kind of go off on that, Tina. You can kind of see, you can go to the you actually can go to the calendar, and there's like marketing. They also have club officer training about club success plans. So those may be also areas you can go, trainings you will want to attend to help you with that particular question, and also network with other people who may have other ideas, especially since we're still kind of like, we can't do some of the old the things we used to do, like open houses and special meetings, things like that.
One thing I want to mention too is in order to get credit for club officer training, you do have to attend at least one training. However, they are going to all be recorded and we're going to be making them available through our YouTube channel. So if you are interested in seeing one of the trainings and you aren't able to attend that particular one, you can go watch the video of it later. But you do have to attend and spread the word to all your officers. You have to attend at least one to get credit.
Okay, Rachel, I think because we're getting kind of close to the time, so Rachel will be the last question. But if you have, but I did want to say, if you do have any questions, I'll go ahead and put my email address in the chat.
My question was for these topics like marketing and other things that we can do trainings on. Are those open to the whole club?
Yes, they are absolutely, all of them are open to the whole club. And please do encourage your club members to attend because they will learn a lot too, and it may encourage them to become officers in the future.
Well, I was going to say, that's the last thing. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen now.
That's great. Thank you very much for facilitating this session, Chris. We now move on. If there are any questions, like as Chris said, please email. Chris is available to answer questions. Do collaborate between clubs. Reach out to our district trio, district division and area directors. Everybody's here. We are all a resource. We are supporting each other. We would like to, before ending the session, let me again thank you, Chris, for your enthusiasm, for putting in the time, the effort for this great presentation. As we begin the new Toastmasters year, we can use all these ideas and the educational resources pointed out to building our club success, our district success. Before we end the meeting, I would like to call upon the district officers for any announcements, district announcements.
Thank you very much, Nirmala. First, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Tina Tate. I'm the Program Quality Director, in case you don't know me. I'm brand new, so I'm super excited to be part of the trio this year. And then we have Linda Forthman, our club growth director, with us as well. And we are kind of learning as we're going too, but we are open to any questions. I put my email in the chat some bit ago. Please email me with any training questions you may have. I'm happy to answer those questions. And if you're interested in district leadership, please let me know that as well. One of the main things that I want to make an announcement about today is the convention. And that is coming up. I put a link to it in the chat, and that goes directly to the convention page off of Toastmasters International. It is from August 23rd to August 28th. And I can tell you, last year was a great informational conference. And there was lots of things to do, as well as the international speech contest, and most importantly, the business meeting. For the business meeting, you may all be getting emails about the proxy. And what that means is that the president and secretary have proxies for voting in the international business meeting or the annual business meeting. You must go in and claim your proxy, and your secretary will need to go in and claim their proxy if they're going to be attending the conference, or if you're going to be attending the conference. If you are not attending the conference, you can, or the convention, you can assign your proxy to another club member, or you can assign your proxy to the district director who will be attending the convention. Proxy assignment will go live no later than July 10th and will close August 16th. So make sure that you get that proxy done. If you have any questions about that, please shoot me an email. I'm happy to answer questions about that. And Linda, was there anything else that I needed to announce, or was that pretty much it?
Well, I have something I'm excited about as Club Growth Director. This is a sneak preview. We're going to give $200 D2 to brand new clubs that start up before September 30th. So if anybody is sitting here on an idea for a brand new club, maybe where you work or community that you're a part of or anything, let me know. D2 can be spent on many, many things that support the club, like your Zoom account, your meetup, advertising. There's a whole list of things you can spend D2 on. You can buy anything in the TI store online. So we're excited. We want to get new clubs started, and this is a great time to be doing it. So thank you. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Linda. Do you want to announce, are there any more announcements?
Nope, that is it. I will hand it back over to you, Nirmala. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you, everyone, for attending to this meeting. Chris, thank you once again. This was a great presentation. Tina and Linda, thank you so much for being here and answering our questions. Wish you all a great Toastmasters year and see you around very soon. Have a great rest of the day, everyone.